Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Chris Bricks here, and have I got a set for you today. Now this set has been out for a while, I've been eyeing it for a while, but never really pulled the trigger. Finally, my wife made the decision for me, got it for me for Christmas, and now I have this set that I've been wanting for a long time. As you can probably guess from the Pepsi Perfect right there, that this is going to be the Back to the Future build. That's right. I've been a fan of DeLoreans ever since I saw this movie. I know they can be goofy looking, they're kind of slow, but something about them just pulls people in, and every time I see it on the road I have to point it out, and maybe even get a picture of it if, we're not driving in the car. But with this set, it gives you a lot of options. What movie do you build after? The first, second, or third? For me, because Lego took the time to include a banana, I have to go with the second one in Mr. Plutonium. I know some people will feel, you should do the third one with the white walls, or do the original because it's the OG. But for me, the second one was probably my favorite of the group. And I can't wait to get this thing together. So crack open your Pepsi Perfect, stock up on your plutonium, and let's get to building. Before we get to the build, let's take a look around on the box. Besides the 35 warnings about small pieces that can choke people, the back of the box is where it's at. They give you all the nice accessories here, like I mentioned earlier. Got the banana for Mr. Plutonium, got your hoverboard, license plate, and even a little plutonium pack just for your own DeLorean. One of the great things about this set, and I'm really glad that it's something they did not overlook, is the flux capacitor. And not that they just have it, but it actually lights up. I think it would have been a big miss if Lego did not put that nice little detail in there. So I'm looking forward to when I could finally get this up and going inside my fully built car. As mentioned before, we're going with Back to the Future 2. So we'll have the wheels that come up and sit regular. And we'll also have the backside, Mr. Plutonium, all the good stuff. Now, another thing I like about this box is the fact that they give you a picture of the built car right beside the one from the screen, which gives you a nice little sense of, hey, look, I got the real thing here in my hands. I'm building the DeLorean. I'm ready to travel back in time. And the last thing I wanted to point out is this little display here. Now, I know for bigger sets, they tend to come with these as a cool little feature. You can have your figurines, gives you information about it, and this is a really nice touch. And honestly, I wish Lego would include these kind of little displays, you could say, for more of their sets, even the smaller ones, like the Speed Champions. Wouldn't it be great to have Ferrari, Lamborghini, the stats on the car that you're building, and have the race car driver here with the trophy? Little things like that I think really helps you get involved in the build and really appreciate it, especially when you put it on display. So, time to get into this box. Now, I was going to cut it, but as you can see, it has the push holes. So we'll go ahead and push it through. They definitely have the glue tight on this one, which is always good. You don't want things falling apart, but I'll go ahead and use the box cutter to get started on this. Get this open a little bit more. All right. So of course, great thing about Lego kits is you have all the bags. All the bags are labeled. They give you the order that they're going to open them. If you're a madman, you just open them all, dump them into a pile. Something I used to do as a kid, but now I like a little less stress in my life, you know? Got the nice accessories. Got plenty of bags. We're up to bag 11, it looks like. As you'd expect from a kit this size. And we'll go ahead and just dump it all out here. As you can see, definitely a lot of bags. I see a lot of hours of building in my future. Now, they got their own little case. Apologize about the background noise here. But look at that. That is just awesome. Now that we got everything out of the box, let's take a look. We got about 11 bags worth of Legos, which isn't too bad compared to some of those monster sets out there. We got our traditional stickers, which are, once they stick, they never come off without getting kind of bent or torn. And then we got our little display in that brown bag. But the big part is the instruction book. And I do like that they took the time to decorate it. When you're gone and you're done, you got the license plate floating around, and there you are on the start of your path. And also, I do like that they add in little pictures from the movie, which is always a great little touch, something you can read about before you start getting into this build. I also love the blueprints. I'm a big fan of blueprints. Absolutely love that they have that in there. And of course, all the dates and times, if that come into focus. But after that, you get a little bit more, and we're off. And it kind of warns you, once you get to step 10, you have your choice with step 11, which way you're gonna go. We're gonna go with the middle ground, and that will be our journey. So, I'm not gonna be a madman and dump all these pieces out all together. We're gonna go ahead and do it the traditional way of opening the bags as the instructions tell us. Who knows, maybe in a future video, if you guys really wanna see it, we'll get a big set, dump all the pieces in a giant pile and try to build from that. That sounds miserable, but hey, if that's something you wanna see, let me know in the comments. Now, let's start opening up these bags. Now the moment we've all been waiting for. Let's get this build. Now, I'm not sure how long it's going to take. I'm going to go ahead and time it. That way at the end of the video, I can give you a rough estimate of how many hours it took me to build this set, and also give you kind of my feedback on how difficult I felt it was compared to other sets. Because we all know, 280 pages. My fingers are going to be feeling it. We'll see how it goes, but let's get building. But first, start the timer. Let's go. And of course, don't want to lose this guy. If you have to do this 100 times during a set and you don't have this tool, your fingers are going to be feeling it the next few days, especially your fingernails. Or if you're a barbarian like me, sometimes I use my teeth to get pieces apart. That's what you got to do sometimes. So just a note on step 12. You're going to build this little piece here. Not too complex, and you have to build it twice. But just so you know, when you look at the instructions, it says it's 5 steps. That's because it jumps ahead 2 of the steps. You go from one piece, all of a sudden assemble to a completely different looking piece. It's not too hard, but just take your time and be on the lookout for that one. to compliment Lego on this one. As you can see from the initial structure we have here, we have a red side and a white side. And the great thing about this is, especially in the instructions where you're replicating but in reverse order because of a front or back side, it's nice that they have these colors here. It may seem obvious to some people that, well, just build it how it says in there. But sometimes, with Lego instructions, it can be kind of confusing, like, okay, is it reversed? Is it this side? Especially when you're replicating the same piece over and over again. So the fact that they color coordinated one side white, one side red, made it so much quicker to figure out where are these pieces actually going and what side. Am I rotating? Am I not rotating? If you build a lot of sets, you know what I'm talking about. So Lego, appreciate that. Love to see it in a lot more sets. Bag 1 complete, 29.5 minutes. On to bag 2. Set the timer. This should be a quick one because this bag was pretty small. Let's see. So this may be a hint you already know about building Legos, especially if you've been doing it for a while, but when you have little pieces like this, where it's easy for them to get all cattywampus and not fit in nicely, or you got a bunch of them, just one single bricks stacked up, what I always like to do is just take them, take the flat side, push it against the table or wherever you're building, and now they're perfectly straight and they fit a lot better. So that's my 2 cents. I'm sure you have other ways to do it as well, but I find that helps me when I'm trying to get through a set pretty quick. It's just to push them down, they're straight, now they can go. And that is bag number 2. Like I mentioned, I didn't think this bag would be that long. Probably the most difficult part about it is there's so many little black pieces. So just trying to find the exact ones you need, especially off the beginning, you're just glossing over it and you're missing the piece 35 times until you eventually find it. But as you start clearing out all the black pieces to be used on the sides, the back, it gets a lot easier. And it only took about 18 minutes. So not bad of a bag at all. Now, we'll move on to bag 3.
Many months later.
Alright, on to bag 3. Now, you may notice same shirt, maybe looking a little scruffier now. Well, that's because between bags 2 and now bag 3 that we're going to work on, it's been about 2 months. Things come up in life and sometimes you got to step away from the filming, go take care of things, then come back to your project. I tell you, even with everything going on, it's been hard to see this just sitting here incomplete. I've been wanting to build this thing since I got it for Christmas, and just seeing it sit here collecting dust pretty much, it's been hard. But we're back now, we're ready to get this thing knocked out. So let's go ahead and get started. We got bag number 3, and per usual, we'll set our timer, see how long it takes, so that we can have a rough estimate when we're done with this, how long you can expect to put this whole entire thing together. Alright, let's get building. Now I have to say, on page 57, or 51, step 57, you'll get these little parts in here. They're going to slide right into these little barrels, and they're slightly annoying. They like to fall out very easily, especially if you're trying to make it look like the picture, wondering where it's going to hook up to, one side falls out, and just be prepared for that. It's going to be a little bit annoying. I see in 58 you finally attach them. I wish they just allowed you to attach them as you installed each side, like usually they do. But all good, but just an annoyance you may run into. when you get to step 73, page 58, finally get an understanding of why that was there. I gotta hand it to you, Lego. That was pretty ingenious. How annoying would this have been had we had to build this whole thing with this being able to shift back and forth, back and forth? Would have been so annoying and probably infuriating, and I know I said that wrong, but you get the drift. You'd have been smashing this on the ground like, will you please stay still while I'm trying to lock in these 4 gears on each side of this thing. I gotta say, that was good engineering. Whoever thought of that idea to use these to lock the little movement in place so that way it wouldn't move at all for you until the end when you take them off, brilliant. Bravo, you deserve a raise. And that, my friends, is the end of bag 3. Now, as you can see, bag 3, not complicated by any means. It's more just me personally, I had to pay attention a little bit more. But it shows how easily, if you're trying to blow through this, yeah, you could just make a big mistake and have to rebuild like I do. So that bag is set at almost 43 minutes. Now, I did start my watch slightly late, so a minute or 2. Plus, I also had some issues with building this part backwards, as well as trying to make sure certain pieces align that were giving me a little more of a problem. But for the most part, not too bad. Bag 3, not a ton of pieces, just a lot of duplication and rebuilding products. But so you could definitely expect a lot less time than 42 minutes if everything goes smoothly. You find everything, you build it right the first time. I'm mentioning any names here, but we're starting to get the size of the vehicle. Looking forward to it. I love that you already get to see, because I chose Back to the Future 2 to build off of. You already get to see the feature of, the folding wheels. Very nice, and I look forward to that. Can't wait to get this thing built. But, all right, now on to bag 4. Hopefully that wasn't a piece I'm gonna need. So, step 109, pretty straightforward. You're just kind of adding pieces to cover up all this part. But one thing I noticed is, like, when you have these flat pieces here, unless you look really close at the instructions, like from here, it looks like it's supposed to sit flush. It will not sit flush. There's going to be a tiny gap right in between there and along that side as well. That's how it should be. At least that's what I'm guessing. If I have to fix it later, I'll admit my wrongdoings. But the way the picture is, the isometric view of it, it makes it almost look like this is flush and this is flush, unless you look really close and you can see a tiny gap there. So just a heads up, you get to this point, you're like, man, I can't get this right flush with it. Probably not supposed to be, but if I'm wrong, I'll let you know. So, on step 124 right now, you got these little guys. And they're supposed to slot in right here. As you can see, unless you got some petite fingers, not the easiest to do. Especially when you need to set them flush in there so they actually snap into place. I've been messing with this for about a minute or so. And why not just include it the step that you built this? Throw it on there. Not too tough. You know. Could have done it. Or even a step earlier before you add on this part or something to just make it a little easier. So just so you know, these may not cooperate with you. They're certainly not with my fingers. But yeah, just be patient. Don't push too hard, otherwise you're gonna snap all this off too. And then you'll want to quit for the night. But we'll keep pressing. So, may help you, may not help you. But I grabbed a little piece that could fit in there. As long as I aligned it 80% of the way, I could kind of push down on the angled portion here. Push it down on there. And it would kind of set it so that way I could get a nice fit on there. But just a tip, may help you, may not. But alright, that is the end of bag 4. Wasn't too tricky, nothing too complicated. Like I mentioned, little bumper inserts here, kind of a pain, but eventually you figure out a way to put it in there. Putting this in was a little awkward as well, especially since where it sat in, it was obvious where it sat in, but it seemed like when you push that in, another piece would pop up and, you know, just minor stuff to get over. Kind of looks like a SAM side on the back of this DeLorean, or what will be the DeLorean at least. But it's done. We have it together. And now we'll move on to bag 5. And bag 4 took roughly about 33 minutes. So here we are, day 3. Now, I know in the last cutscene you saw me moving on to bag 5. Unfortunately, all my filming or equipment decided batteries were pretty much dead. Maybe you should do it tomorrow. So here we are, day 3 technically on this build. And this is something you could easily get done in a day if you needed to. It's more so I work full time, have a family, so this is something I'm kind of doing in between my spare time that I have available. But I am looking forward to this bag because I saw the front emblem for DMC on here, so looks like we're going to get some of this front end put together, which will be great. See it become more and more of a car. Can't wait to get this finished. Let's get started. So this is a really cool part, and I'm hoping to see more of these like this, but it's nice how easy it translates over here. But you can see the piece almost looks like the brushed stainless steel that the DeLorean was really originally made in, which is great. It'd be nice if all the pieces were like this on the body. I'm not sure they took it that far or not because I haven't built it yet, but it'd be amazing if the whole thing was this brushed kind of look to it. Really cool feature. Glad to see that little extra effort to match the texture of the real car. Alright, that was bag 5. Looking at about 21.5 minutes. Not too bad at all, pretty straightforward. May saw me deconstructing these pieces. Just make sure you grab the right ones, put it together the first time. These little bent pieces here with a little curve, they don't always like to snap in at the same time. Sometimes you gotta get one end in and then kind of force it in to snap to the upper side. But other than that, pretty straightforward. And for those of you who've already built this set, you already knew my disappointment was coming. But unfortunately, we just got the regular gray on there. While it looks really cool in the camera here, starting to look like that DeLorean, I really wish it had that texture on the bumper across all the panels. That would have just put the icing on the cake for it. I'm still excited. I love DeLoreans. I love Back to the Future. So I'm not disappointed, but man, it would have been I think it's a missed opportunity on Lego's part, but hey, still cool, still lots of fun so far. And as usual, gather all my little extra parts, which so far we're into bag number 6. This is all the extras so far. So make sure to keep tab on your pieces because not a lot of extras are coming through at the moment. Especially any kind of decent sized pieces. If you lose it, you're kind of out of luck. Reach out to Lego and have them send you another piece, but it's definitely looking good. Like I said, can see it coming, especially when you got it like that. Yep. I am looking forward to the rest of this build. But, all right. Bag number 6. kind of mentioned this earlier before. Great tip. You got all these little individual little single one pieces here. You know how they can be. They get all cattywampus. They don't line up straight. Some of them are bent a little bit twisted this way, this way. Great thing to do is just find a flat surface, almost like a deck of cards. Just flatten it out, and you got a nice, perfectly straight set. And that goes for anything, any of those 1x1 pieces that you put together. Just flatten it on there. You're good to go. And I also wanted to shout out, because if anybody has had a close look at a DeLorean taillights, I like that they did it this way, where they made it with the little, basically little squares, just like how it is on the real car. I appreciate that little bit of detail right there. So step 209, 210, they're kind of combining a step with installation. 209 has you finish this little simple piece. 210 focuses on adding the bottom part of the bumper, the gray part here. But if you don't look closely, it only tells you where it's put in 210. Piece 209 is 3/4 of the way highlighted, but to be honest, it kind of blends in with the highlight over 210's directions. But if you're on 209, you're like, okay, I didn't quite see it, or you're not catching it, throw it right on the bumper. That's all it is that piece that goes there. Probably obvious to a lot of people, but at first I was looking at it, I'm like, wait a minute, what am I doing with this piece? All I noticed was 210's directions and where it was pointing at. It wasn't really pointing to 209 either. So just a heads up in case you get stuck there. And that's a conclusion of bag 6. There were a few pieces that made me question what was put on correctly, but as with any Lego build, you kind of take a closer look, follow the steps a little bit more, and you'll see that either you just slotted it slightly off so it doesn't quite align, or you just missed where they put the little highlight on it. Because when you're looking at a full picture under here, there's a lot to look at. And sometimes with the red and the trim and everything going on, you'll miss that little highlight around the piece where they want you to place it. But overall, not too bad. We're looking at just under 31 minutes for that build. And next will be bag 7. We're getting nice, getting a lot closer, starting to get the rear end on there, match the front. Looking forward to it. Appreciate more uses of the stainless steel looking pieces, but I'm excited. Let's get back to building. This piece may seem insignificant, but man, if you're a fan of the movie, you know exactly what this is. And it's getting me excited about this build, because if we're installing this part inside of the, where they're sitting at in the DeLorean, that only means one thing's coming up next. That's right, the flux capacitor. When I found out this kit was coming out, I was like, man, they better not miss a beat and not have this light up. And when I saw the kit and that it actually lights up, man, Lego nailed it. You couldn't have this, but you could have this kit, of course. But it'd be incomplete without a light up flux capacitor. So between pulling this resetting the time travel on the dashboard, or turning it on, however you want to say it, engaging the flux capacitor. Man, this is amazing. Man, these little pieces with the little window insert, man, that takes me back to my childhood right there. Building those little octane sets, gas stations, or even the little city police where you gotta pop in all these windows. My kids have my old Lego sets from when I was a kid, and still some of these are still holding the windows that I placed in probably a solid 30 or so years ago, which is insane. It just brings back a lot of memories when you put pieces like this together, and just kind of shows how Lego really grows with you throughout life, especially if you're someone who loves building Legos. Brings back a lot of memories. And I see, gonna have to grab a sticker for this, so do that as well. Alright, so I finally found the right sticker here. Of course, wasn't attached to the one that's all nice and neat and everything. This one unfortunately got smashed in the box a bit. And if one thing is for certain, and to joke incoming, but I'm a stickler for stickers. I'm one of those people that when I'm putting it on any Lego sets, it has to be flush, it has to be perfect. Otherwise, I am gonna see it from 100 yards away. It could be on the opposite side of the room, and I'll see that one sticker that's just completely off. Because you know how Lego stickers are. They're like for life, pretty much. Once you put them on, you can peel them off, but they're never quite the same again. And unfortunately, this one's kind of bent, so it's not gonna be fun to put on, but we'll see what we could do, see what the final result will be. Hopefully good, otherwise I'm gonna know that this thing's messed up, even though it's gonna be hidden by a roof and doors. I'm gonna know. So let's see what we can do with it. So not my proudest work. I thought the sticker was a little bit longer than it was, so I didn't get it all the way to the bottom. That's gonna bug me, but there's no coming off with this one. If I could give any feedback to Lego, not that they would ever watch this video or anything, or anybody would ever see it, just make the stickers just a little bit longer to cover whatever they're put on. Especially like in the Speed Champions, when you have a stripe that goes through multiple pieces, make it long enough to cover that whole piece so it could be nice, flush line. So you're not deciding, do I want the line to be up more, or do I want to be down more on the vehicle or the fender or whatever you're building. Just give me a couple extra millimeters and we'll be all good, all right? So here's the completed flux capacitor. Now I know I was complaining how I placed the sticker on a little bit ago, and I'm still not happy with the placement, but it might have been one of those Bob Ross happy little accident type things, because if I would have put it lower, more of the flux capacitor top, the Y part, would have been covered up. So I get to see more of the flux capacitor, so maybe it worked out. Yeah, all good. So one tip I like to do with the stickers is sometimes they're the exact color of the piece, and that can make it a real pain when you're trying to align it. And even this one, it's slightly crooked a bit, which I don't care for. But one thing that could definitely help you is the gloss on the piece is usually a lot shinier than the gloss on the sticker. So usually angle it to where whatever light source I have is reflecting off the piece. And then I put the sticker over that reflection, and then you could clearly see where the piece outline is and where the sticker outline is, and that way you can kind of eyeball it on top and bottom where you're smack in the middle. Now, once you get it touching at the very beginning, that's when I would check to see where the back part is going to land, because sometimes, oh, it looks good here, but you really have it slightly crooked, and by the time you press it on, you realize I was off. That's kind of what happened with this. It looked good up here, it looked flush, not so much here. So just double check both sides before you do that commitment, and you should be good to go. You know what's great about building this part is I was halfway through this part, I'm like, I wonder what it's going to be. And once I saw the blank face and the way the pop-up was, it was exactly what this piece was going to be. And for those of you that built this set or are going to build that set and are a fan of Back to the Future, you'll get the same feels that I got as soon as I saw this. I was like, I can't wait to put all the dates on there. And now, time for some hopefully very well placed stickers, because this is quite an important piece on the dashboard here. Alright, and that's the final conclusion to bag 7. We got the flux capacitor in, we got all the locations, and, well, not location, but the times, the time you're leaving, where you're gonna arrive, when you're coming back, all that good stuff. We got the steering wheel in there, and the windshield too. Very nice. So, and don't forget the manual transmission that you see Marty throwing through the gears, trying to get up to 85 miles an hour. Yeah, good looking real one of these. Or 88 miles an hour. My bad. It's a late night. But anyways, that's gonna be it for tonight. I gotta get to bed. But tomorrow we'll get started on bag 8 and keep this thing going. See you tomorrow.